So I just wanted to do a little follow-up video to the last one about talking about your shelves and getting more out of your Maya. By now, hopefully everybody's kind of using this sort of stuff to get the different shelves really quickly. But I wanted to talk about using Git modifiers. The modifier keys are your Shift, Control, Alt, and the Windows key, also called, I think, a super key, depending on what OS you're on. So what I want to do is just kind of talk about what that is and then how you can use it to your advantage. So the thing is, it's a little bit tricky to use because actually it is working for me at the moment. Cool, great. So I don't know if you can see what's going on in there. I'll make this bigger as well. But what I'm doing is I'm going to go in here, hold down Shift and hit Enter to run the command. If I run it with nothing, whoops. If I run it with nothing, I get a 0. If I run it with Shift, I get a 1. Control, I get a 4. Alt, I get an 8. Shift and Alt, I get a 9. Shift and Control, 5. Alt and Control, 12. Windows key, it's always a tricky one. Doesn't always want to do its thing. But if I hold down Shift, Control, and Alt, I get 13. So basically what this is just returning back which hotkey, or we're going to call them modifier keys, are depressed. It's not going to do anything for all of the rest of your keys. But what you can do is use that to your advantage when you're you know, building little simple scripts for your shelf. So just to show you what I kind of had here, I just made a little quick tool. Let's see if I do it quick, it'll let me do it. Oh, sometimes you'll pop things open. That's a Windows key. It's a little bit dangerous, so I tend not to put anything to the Windows key. But you see, I've gone all the way up to 29. There is a way you can do this where you use modulus and leave the percentage equal 0. I usually just say if it equals. So what I'm going to first do here is just make something really quickly. Let's say, and this is something I use all the time when I'm just making quick scripts, is I have my little rig here, and I just want something that'll quickly grab the other side. Now the naming structure on this I need to update, but right now it's LF and RT. So what I'm going to do is going to say get my selection, and what I want to do is just say whatever you have selected, replace the LF with an RT and vice versa. So for each in cell, it's going to take for each object's in there, let's say opposite equals each dot replace, and I'm going to do it, and it's some inputs that I can put in here. We'll say search and REPL for replace. So we'll say search REPL. Cool. And actually I'll do this, say opposites equals list. Okay. And then I'll say yeah, opposites, oops, append op. And you know what? I'm going to put a default in here. We'll say equals F. We'll say equals RT. So what that should do is just take our search replace and give us back the opposite. So let's also do this. Let's say return opposites. Cool. Let's just see what happens if I have this selected. If I can select it. There we go. Oops. Let's select everything. Apologize for the... Cool. So it didn't work because that's a capital F. Is it always a capital F? Grab a door. Yeah, it looks like it. So do capital F. I'll do capital RT. I haven't touched this rig in a really long time, so. Cool. So we have from left to right as expected. So what I want to do is do a second, well, let's just add it to the results. As with Python, it's one of those things. You can either put everything in one function or make it lots of small functions. So most people who do Python will tell you make lots of small functions. I mean, this is so little, I don't mind doing that. So what I'm going to say is commands.select, and I'll say opposites replace equals true. Alright, so now what that's going to do is take my selection, look to see if the other side select it, or just blindly say there's the other side, right? So if I have two objects selected, it should just go and grab the other ones. Very simple. I probably should have some error checking there. Let's say if it exists, blah, blah, blah. Maybe down the road we'll do that. But meantime, I just want to talk about using Git Modifiers. So what I'm going to do is take this Git Modifiers and drop it in here as well. I'm going to say mods equals that. And let's see, we'll say shift. Whoops, shift. Shift is 1. Okay, so what I'm going to do is say if mods equals 1, which is shift, we'll say add. So I think you see where we're going with those. Else. Come on, Maya. I'll just replace it. All right, so we'll run that. And now I'll select this and this. I'll hold down no modifier keys. It grabs the other side. Now I'll grab this. I'll grab this. I'll hold down shift and it grabs them both, just like we wanted it to. It's pretty cool. So you can also do other things. Let's say, well, I guess that wouldn't really work. I was gonna say you could do a control for dropping, but that doesn't really make sense. But control is 4. So we can say, I don't know, something else. If mods equals 4 for control, let's say, geez, I don't know. Nothing's going to come to mind. We'll just print. Because normally I would say like disconnect, but whatever. These are the opposites. Oops. I wonder if that'll work. Because it is a list, it probably won't. Let's try it anyway. Cool. I'll hold down control this time. Ah, it worked. Yeah, that's cool. So it says, these are what I was looking for. Door right control, door right control. Why would you ever do that? I have no idea, but there you go. So now I can just take this whole thing and kick it up here like this. And I will update it and name it opposites. I think there's like a nice double arrow. Oops. No, I'm thinking of whatever that is. We'll use that. Fine, whatever. Cool. So now I have a nice little button. So I can say I'll grab this door and say give me the other door, right? Or I'll grab these two doors, hit shift, and now I get both doors. Oop. Not hitting shift. I do get some weirdness sometimes. Let me just try something, which is I'll just take that only. Did I screw it up? Let's just make sure. Let's try this out. Shift. Help if I can spell. Oh, I see what I did there. Nobody caught that? This second one should be LF. String literal, yep, okay. There we go, good. So let me get rid of that. And I'll take this entire thing. And because it's such a simple little script, I'll often put these up on a shelf and not really care. I'll leave those print statements in there for now, but let's just make sure it works. Sure, we'll grab the wheels. There we go. And this is going to give me everything, which is kind of funny. I select those and just hit opposite. I should get just the opposite. Cool. I have had a little bit of luck where instead of having it all up there, let's see if it works a little bit better. This is a test that I have never done. So let's see. Okay. Works pretty well. So let's all try that. No. Seems to work just as well. Oh, that's funny too. So you get the idea anyway. It's nice to throw that in there. So if you're, it doesn't matter what you're doing. I was just doing a thing where I was setting a whole bunch of values to be a certain thing. If I hold down shift, it returns them back to their defaults. I have these buttons up here that you can see, and these are in my replacements for what goes in the show menu. So I can, you know, if I hold down Geo and Shift, I'm going to, oops, yeah, sorry, Alt, or Control, sorry, it's muscle memory messing me up. So I hold down Control, it's gonna only show me those objects. That way I can, like, say, toggle, well, let me see, am I not showing any joints here? Oh, let me, hold on one second, let me show joints. Do I have my joints hidden somehow? Oh, there they are. So if I hold down, when I'm holding on Alt, it's only going to show me my joints, or it'll toggle them. So I can say, you know, should we hide my geo, show my geo, isolate my geo, which is kind of handy. Nerves curves, I can look at just my nerves curves, or just nerves, sorry. The one next to it is curves, and apparently I have it broken. But I'm actually getting rid of that now. I'll just show you what that looks like. And I've kind of written a new thing to put these buttons on. And instead of having all these buttons, you notice it matches these guys that I have up here. So none, geo, curves, joints, lights, cameras, anim. Anim's sort of a special thing, and then grid. And what I like about this is I can do a couple of things. So if I hold down, I think I did all three. No, let me see. I forgot what I'd done. Let's see. Yeah, I should probably learn what I've done. But you notice I just have to put my mouse over, and I don't have to worry about, you know, and like if I have my script editor open, you probably had hit some scripts and stuff like that that'll break and things like that. But anim is one that I've created. If you just click anim, it'll only show, you know, controllers, nerves, curves, polygons. Now, this one here is just straight up curves, which is broken. But the difference with this one is if I just isolate just curves, it's actually showing a few things. It's showing controllers, nerves, curves, and nerve CVs and nerves holes. If you don't have those things on, you're not going to be able to get to see those things. For geo, I'm showing, you know, nerves, nerve CVs, polygons, subdivisions, and surfaces. For joints, it's actually, well, let me isolate it. I'm doing joints, IK handles, locators, and handles. So it's a nice way to quickly hide and show that stuff. And the reason I made it into a script to add these, oh, and isolate, of course, is everybody's, you know, I can do an isolate that, and I can say, you know, let's grab these guys, and if I hold down Alt, it'll isolate just those guys, but you know, I want to remove this one. I can either remove it this way, or I can, oops, jump the gun. I can just quickly isolate it, or I can control drop it out, and I can unisolate that. And the reason I read it this way is so I can actually have marking menus on there. If you're familiar with the marking menus the way they work now, you know, you only get a drop-down menu with a marking menu. You can add to that really easily. You know, I have one here. Oh, there we go. So this will toggle all grids, I guess. Yeah, kind of weird. But instead of, you know, what I've done is made these into marking menu pop-up menus, which I like better. So I can go to all, and I have a whole bunch of things I can change, like manipulators, X-ray. You know, I do have a you know, a hotkey for that, but I thought it'd be nice to have that there. You can just quickly show and hide polys. Huh, is that a NURB? Jeez, really? I gotta fix that. Wow. You can also turn off and on manipulators, which is a thing that animators tend to like. I also put that one under animation, so you can show and hide your animations. You can show and hide motion trails. You can show and hide selection highlighting. I'm not a giant fan of this, but I've met a lot of animators that do like it. So generally, whoops. Yeah, okay. So I had that in there. And under cameras, I have things like image planes, grease pencils, heads-up displays, holdouts. Just a quick way to get that. And then I took it a little bit further than, and what I'm doing now is I have one for just quickly adding it to the status line up here. And the reason I'm doing it that way is because for years I've been actually editing the status line mel script, but it gets a little bit tedious as you bump up. If they do any changes, I want to make sure those changes are there. And it's a lot of work. Unfortunately, the way that the flow layout works, you can only add things on to the end. But these buttons here and these buttons here are the same. So ideally, I'd only have this one showing. That way, if I'm in like my dev directory or dev folder, I still have access to these guys, and they still have the hotkeys like I did before. So I can say, you know what, just show me my curves. I still have the right things showing, so I can get those things rather than going here and saying none and then saying all or whatever it is. It's just a little less tedious. And then, you know, under grid, I can grid all toggle. I can all grid on, all grid off. I could probably add that to some other things. And yeah, so a funny one is the all and none. So actually, if I do the opposite of none, I get all. And so these buttons are sort of the same thing. You know, but I find that as I use this, it becomes super handy as I'm working. And I've been using it for quite a while now, so I definitely recommend that. Yeah, I think that's going to give me everything I was thinking of. You know, right now I'm debating the animation one, just this one. I might make it so it also turns off geometry selection. That's easy enough to do, just throw in there as an added bonus. Can isolate. Yeah, so I think that's about it. The main thing for here, takeaway though, is using those mods. And I hope that helps you out. Oh, and I just wanted to add that I am updating my channel tools. I'm adding in a new thing called Git Constraint Drivers. And what that is for is just a quick way to get the drivers of your constraints. So I have two locators here. I'll select this one and just do a parent constraint. I'll do this one and do a scale constraint. And what this Git constraint drivers will do is just jump through those constraints and go straight to the objects that it has constrained to it. If I have nothing selected, it grabs them all. If I say grab a couple channels here and I run it, it'll get just the ones, so that in case it's a parent constraint. If I select here, it'll give me a scale constraint. If I duplicate this out and add this as a second parent constraint, so now I have two, and I select the, say, rotate X and say get constraint drivers, it only gets one. Okay, so I need to fix that apparently. But once I fix that, I will update that script as well. All right, I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you later.